Okay, so once you have your drawing gridded and your canvas gridded, it's going to be time to transfer your drawing onto your canvas. So this is similar to how you worked with the violin or the hand drawing, but now you just have to make it larger. So it's still transferring using the grid, just doing it larger. So I would figure out where I wanted to start from, and just like I did before, find those reference points. So I feel like starting from the top of this kid's hat. So I'm going to find where this hat crosses this particular line. Now, the line is from here to here. This is where it crosses. That's not quite halfway. I'd say halfway is about right here. So it's about a third or a little more than a third. So it's close to half. So I'm going to find where that grid is on my canvas. So count from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth line up should be the middle line. And second square in. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm right here in the second square in. So I said it's not quite half. It's a little less than half. And actually, now since this square has more detail, you know, figuring out where his head and his mouth and his face is, I can actually grid this one down a little further, which I'm going to do here, so that I can figure this out a little more exact. So just the squares that need it, just the squares that have more detail. It's a 2-inch square, so go to 1 inches. And then I'm going to do it both ways actually. So this way it's 1 1/4. So half of 1 is a half. Half of a quarter is an eighth. So I do 1 plus an eighth. I mean half plus an eighth. Half plus an eighth. Okay. And then just for this square with his face, I'm going to cut that in half one more time. So that's 1 inch, I'm going to go to 1/2 inch. Because I want to be able to get the details, the placement of his face right, so it doesn't look funny. Okay, so now I need to do that on this square. So I do need to make sure I can see all of this. Okay, 4 inches, cut it in half to 2. 2 up here. Okay, this is 2 1/2, so 1 1/4. Again, I want to make these lightly. And grid this one down a little further. It's 2, I'll make it 1 1/2. Okay, now I have a little more detail to go off of for this area of my drawing. So I'm happy with where I put that hat crossing. Now for where it crosses this line, that's about just less than halfway between my smaller square here. So I'm glad I did that. It makes it a little easier to judge. And then about 1/4 of the way over from here to here, I can tell. And it's going to come down, come right back in across here. Okay, as far as how far up it comes, it goes up, I would say, about 1/3 of the way through this whole square. So I can judge that. If ever you're not sure, too, you can use measurements a little further. If eyeballing and estimating doesn't work as well for you. Where his hat comes down is just shy of this mark, I can tell. So it'll help me get that curve of the hat in there. Now I want to find this point where the brim of his hat meets the top of his hat. And I think it's about halfway from here to here. From here to here, halfway. So I'll make that mark about there. And I know that's where this part of the hat's going to come, the top part. Okay, but the brim does continue. Looks like it crosses here and here. Okay, so I'm going to continue this for all of these points around the boy, around the horse, and get my whole drawing sketched on there. I definitely draw all the details of the boy and all the details of the horse. For the background, I'm going to figure out where the line is between the grass and the trees, and I'm going to lightly probably just sketch in these major trunks of the trees. I'm not going to sit here and try and draw all the leaves because they're not exact in any way at all. They're not detailed, they're just kind of blurry. Background's a little more blurry. So if you have a blurry background or areas like trees where it's not as specific, you can just get some of the main shapes drawn in. Okay, so that'll be the next step. Transfer your drawing onto your canvas.